Hey Matt, what's going on, man? So I just want to give you an update as to one, what the sheet is, and it's become something a little bit different than when we started. But also, I wanted to talk to you about what I want to accomplish with the spreadsheet. So there are a few minor changes that I've actually made. I picked apart the spreadsheet pretty well and figured out how actually you were pulling the data. So I changed a few of the muscle movements. So as you can see here, some of them were taken out and replaced. And I actually put in shoulder ISO, and I was able to look at the lookup tables column and figure out how you'd work that all out. So if I type in cable here, it still only pulls cable exercises from the shoulder ISO and such. So there are a few different selections here, but the lookup table, I just figured out how that works, and I worked that in. So that's nothing major. Few changes. So I actually had uh, through MrExcel.com on the forum, I had someone develop this total volume formula here. It's a macro, so it works particularly from a notebook. But here's how it works. So, and this leads to the next change. I'm trying to make this spreadsheet accessible by phone for people who use the mobile Excel app. This works well for clients who are on the go a lot. And so what I have here is two drop downs, weight and set. The weight drop down has a indirect. If you the drop down here is has weight on it, right? It's weight or set. Weight itself is a name range, so this is an indirect data validation tab. So I just use the indirect function to pull in this drop down whatever's in this column. So when I pull down weight, a bunch of different weights get pulled out. So if I put 295, that's 295. If I pull down set, I can choose a number of reps from 1 to 30, right? So let's say I do 295 for 10. This total volume column then actually pulls, it multiplies 295 by 10. But the reason it's a powerful tool here is because now if I change the weight, and let's just say I drop it to 275, and I do 275 for a set of 10. What this total volume calculation will do is it will multiply, it'll find the product of the first occurrence of weight and set and sum that with the second occurrence of weight and set. And if I add set, say I do another set of 10 at 275, it now takes the product of weight and set on the first occurrence and adds that to the product of weight times set times set. So then it takes 270 times 20, 275 times 20, and sums that with 295 times 10. And if I throw another occurrence of set, it takes 275 and multiplies that by 30, and then sums that with 295 multiplied by 10, right? And if I add another weight column, let's say I drop it down to 235, and then I do a set of 8, this volume calculation will multiply 295 times 10, and then sum that with 275 times 30, and sum that with 235 times 8. So this is a very, very cool function. This is also a timestamp, and that basically, right now I have it set to the total volume column, but I'm going to change it to a different column. But basically what this does is when you enter something, when the number changes in the volume column, then this stamps the date. And that's useful for people who are on their phones doing this. It's a relatively easy way to go about it, right? So that is what I have. So this is cool. You can find your muscles or movements. I can create the exercise plan and I can have people plot out what they do. Essentially, what I want to do is create, I guess it would be more of a pivot chart, but I want people, as you can see, I have this 3-day week, 1 week, but let's just say, and I also changed some of the, let's just say I go to a 3-day 4-week, which is essentially, I actually have to modify this a little bit, but I'll send it to you in a modified form. So this is 4 weeks worth of data. And I do have to change the way that looks, but just bear with me for this. So let's just say I create a 4-week plan on this 4-week page, and every week I have people increase the weight or increase the amount of sets or increase the amount of reps they do from week 1 to week 2 on to week 3, and then take an unloading week and do a low amount of reps and sets on week 4. I want a visual chart that will show me a couple of things, right? So ultimately, if I could get a bar graph, and a bar graph is kind of nice, to outline basically, and so that people can see the difference between total volume on the first week per muscle group, total volume on the second week per muscle group, total volume on the third week per muscle group, and so on. They can see the average volume across the span of however many weeks is in a sheet in one column. They can see total volume of a specific exercise. They can see the average across however many weeks are on the sheet, and they can also see it in the view of the differences of volume week to week. So some sort of pivot table that would take all those fields into account. They can see the total number of sets. Number of sets is another one that I'm looking for. Sets per muscle group is huge. If I could have people seeing a chart that showed, let's just say we had upper push, and we had 3 upper push exercises, and we had 3 sets of those 3 upper push exercises on the first week. I'd want a chart that could say there was 9 total sets of upper push on week 1. And that's obviously, that doesn't just span across one workout, but that spans across all workouts. So let's just say on, week 1, we had 3 upper push exercises per workout and 3 sets of each. I'd want that to take into account the total sets across the entire week. So every single workout. So then you're tallying up 27 total sets of upper push. I think, yeah, just about 27 total sets of upper push. And I want the spreadsheet to be able to take that and say week 1, 27 sets upper push. Let's just say I added a set to every exercise for the second week. That's going to add 9 total sets. 36 sets week 2. Let's say on week 3 I added another set to each exercise. That would be 45 sets week 3. And then if it was just like 3 weeks, it can also take all that data and get the average of all that. Average sets across the span of, say, a 3-week data line. Now, the way I'm going to have it structured is that there's going to be a sheet that has only 1 week worth of exercises for a 3-day-a-week program. There's going to be a sheet that has 2 days worth of exercises for a 1 week program, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and so on. And more or less, I want this chart to be applicable to every sheet. Now, if it means that there has to be some sort of chart on every single sheet, that's fine. If we were to do that, I'd probably want it located to the right of all the of all the current tables that there are. And just looking at, if we had like a 4-week thing, and you had to put the chart on the same uh, page, sorry, let's just say you had to put the chart summarizing total volume across the 4 weeks and total sets across the 4 weeks, yada yada. That chart would probably go like right over here. So if you get what I'm looking at, I basically want charts, and bar graphs tend to work best, if any charts, that summarize total sets and total volume across however many weeks I have planned out on a given spreadsheet, whether that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 weeks. It should show the totals. It should have the ability to show the total sets per muscle group across each week, the average total sets per muscle group, the total volume per muscle group across each week, the average total volume per muscle group, and it should just be variable like that, right? Other cool functions, which I'm not sure if they would have it, but that would be kind of cool, are like total volume to do the same functions, but instead of just the muscle group, pinning down the actual exercise would be kind of a cool function. So you can get a total sets per exercise, average across a certain amount of weeks per exercise, total volume per exercise, averages across the weeks for per exercise. Um, if it's still making sense. So that's essentially what I'm looking for there. My thought was maybe there'd have to be an extra sheet put in where the data gets pulled into a pivot table and then the visual chart gets pulled into that page or something to that matter. But that's essentially what I'm looking for. I hope that was descriptive and not too confusing. We can chat more about it if you have any questions, but this is the basics of what I'm looking for on this. All right, let me know what you need from me. Talk to you soon. Bye.